Hello and welcome to Matt's Mosh Pit, and this is my very first in-house interview with the one and only, and I will say this, the greatest Iron Maiden tribute band ever, EYES of the Nile. Okay, so next to me I've got Fern, aka Steve Harris. I've got Chris, aka Clicko, if I recall, Nico
Clicko.
and Clive.
That's a good one. All right.
And we've got the one and only Naveed, who AKA all of the lead singers.
Best that I can.
Yep.
Yeah, we got to get a good name. We got to get a good name for the lead singers. Like, because should you just be the Bruce, or do we? Paul Diano?
Mostly the Bruce, but not all the Bruce.
Okay, so we'll
Paul, Dick, and Blaze.
yes,
There you go.
Paul, Dick, and Blaze, folks. I think that's a new one.
Isn't there a language policy?
Yeah, I guess that might not go over too well on like the business cards. But anyway, folks, I mentioned this, the greatest tribute band ever. And I'm actually going to, first, before we get started, I want to preface it in the fact that most of my life I've been kind of down on cover bands and tribute bands. Just because I always thought, like, hey, if you can see the real thing, why would you go to something else? And these guys sitting next to me completely changed my opinion on that. So I took a waiver out on them. I said, hey, they're in town. Let me check it out. And I expected, spandex, fake wigs, and all of that kind of good stuff. And you guys did none of that. You have an amazing stage show to begin with. So you get the Iron Maiden theatrics, but without like the schlocky kind of wigs and all of that kind of stuff. And I had literally the best time ever. One of the best shows I've been to. And I've seen you guys a couple times now. And so I had to bring you on Matt's Mosh Pit, just because I think more people should actually pay attention to the tribute bands out there. And so I asked this prior, but I want to clarify the difference between a cover band and a tribute band. And if I'm correct, and you guys can stop me here, a cover band pretty much covers all different bands and different styles, different songs of other people's work. A tribute band focuses on one particular band. And so there's not one, like, it's not like a derogatory term to say cover band or tribute band, or it's just, it is what it is.
It's the focus.
Okay.
Yeah, you just can't say Iron Maiden cover band.
Yes. Okay. Because that's the official negative, like what not to say.
It's grammatically incorrect.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
And thematically.
Okay. Yeah. I just got to make sure that I'm doing this right, folks. But I will say, and I'm going to keep saying they're the best Iron Maiden tribute band ever, because I have gone after I saw you guys, I went to YouTube and I was like, hey, who else is out there? Maybe I'm just being extra nice and whatever. I've watched a ton of them, and you guys definitely, stand out. And it's not because you're sitting next to me right here. I just want you guys to know how truly good you guys are live. And so yeah, we're gonna get started. I had to,
It's humbling.
you
Much
gotta,
appreciated.
You got to
Much
start off. You got to start off being, truthful. And now we can get to the lies. No. Okay, so I'll start with you, Naveed. You have a level of energy that I can't figure out, and I feel bad because like you have to compete with Bruce Dickinson.
Sure.
Who's what at this point? He's 67, something like that, and still has this like burst of energy. I'm not even close to that, and I'm tired after watching you for one song. Like, how do you prepare for this?
Well, I'll start by saying that I'm not competing with anybody, least of all Bruce Dickinson, who's just one of the greatest of the great. I mean, as I think Fern likes to say, they're the masters, we're the students. I mean, we're all just sort of doing the best we can, right? I think I'm just a naturally pretty energetic person. I mean, my friends would tell you that.
Yeah.
Everybody would tell you that. I'm just kind of that way. So, you know, I mean, some of it I think is just my natural temperament. Obviously, I love what we do. Love playing music, love playing on stage, love playing with these guys, love Iron Maiden, love the whole thing. So I think that sort of fuels it as well. And, you know, I think part of it is also the desire to put on a good show. I mean, I think, you know, when we started doing this, I think we really wanted to, you know, like you said, we don't do the spandex and the wigs and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't so much about mimicry, right? It was more about trying to capture the spirit. And if you've ever seen Maiden, I mean, one of the things that stands out is even as a legacy band, they really bring a lot of energy, let alone what it was in the 80s. But like, and a lot of that is Bruce Dickinson and his particular way of connecting with the audience and getting the energy up. And, you know, a lot of the other, you know, bands we've seen, you know, that's one thing that we try to really bring that I think, you know, sometimes you'll see bands that are really focused on the performance, which is awesome in terms of just playing everything correctly, but maybe that additional level of sort of stage presence isn't as much of a focus. And we try to balance it so we, you know, give the audience enough musical accuracy that we're, you know, translating what it is we're trying to do. But the best thing is when somebody gets swept up in the feeling of it. That's the thing, right? It's the feeling of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you guys definitely just, like I said, the theatrics, like the stage. I've seen, like I said, what I've seen on YouTube, it's typical stage. You got the same instruments and same amount of players. There might be a banner with their name in the back, but that's it. You guys have, like, I feel like you guys have the whole Power Slave like stage set up.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
little by little.
and so it in like the art, not the light show in the back, but you guys even had, like, the last time I saw you guys did the whole Blade Runner thing.
Yeah.
Like, how amazing is that?
I'll say these two guys get the lion's share of credit for all of the production elements, right? As the band has sort of, like, you know, evolved over the last 8 years, this will be the 9th year that we're doing this, you know. I mean, you know, your ambitions grow, you clarify your vision, and when you've got, you know, guys like this who are good with audio and video and you know, building things, and, you know, I would have never imagined, honestly, that we would have even gotten to this level of sort of, you know, kind of production elements. And I'm sort of the no frills guy. If we just went on stage with nothing,
Yeah, you're just like, hey, I'm good.
I'd probably be okay.
Yeah.
But it really does make things, you know, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think for everybody, and, you know, just again, it sort of transports you a little bit and just kind of
The visual aspect for the, you know, the layperson who doesn't even know the music.
Sure.
You know, it just helps to have that kind of visual. And even if we didn't have any of the visual, it's always been the music first. Like, we really care about the music more than anything.
Yeah, and I've seen you guys twice now, and each time I had a person with me that doesn't know Iron Maiden and loved it, like, had an amazing show, and that's kudos to you guys.
That's great.
Awesome.
So I guess I kind of jumped ahead, folks. I should start off, you know, with how did this whole thing start? Like, I know you guys are in different bands, but how did you guys think, okay, let's get together and do an Iron Maiden? Like, how did you pick Iron Maiden first? Like, or how did you get started, but how did you pick Iron Maiden to be the band?
He had an ad on Craigslist.
Did it really?
Yeah.
And a friend of mine shared it with me. And I thought this guy could be a little crazy, thinking that he wants to start an Iron Maiden tribute band, Bruce Era or whatever it said. And I still have the email. And we kept going back and forth, not knowing who we were because of the Craigslist scrambled email address. So we were just asking each other questions, and I was probably drilling him on his, you know, background and experience and all this stuff. And he's like, well, what about you? Like, who do you play with? What bands? And I told him I played in the Navy Band and Dr. Fu and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, I love you guys. This is Naveed from Iris Divine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we've met before. We actually knew each other, but we didn't know we were actually talking to each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Because Craigslist is de-identified, so you don't know who you're communicating with.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, it's a small world.
So we got together. We decided to get together. It was me, him, and I think a bassist, and the person who shared his Craigslist ad with me. And that's literally how it started. And I think Phantom of the Opera was the first thing that
Was
we
it
really?
started
Oh, I
jamming
don't
on.
remember that.
Yeah.
And so it was already based on the Craigslist. You knew Iron Maiden was going to be what you wanted
I mean,
to do.
You know, I mean, I've done random covers of random things with just friends and other bands and stuff like that, and that was just my favorite thing to sing and perform, and honestly, it's just one of my favorite bands, period. And so I had thought about, well, maybe it'd be fun to do like some kind of a metal covers tribute thing, whatever. But then the more I was just jamming with people, I was like, Iron Maiden's the stuff that I want to do more of. Like, I think I did one show with a bunch of friends where we did a whole bunch of different covers, like Anthrax and Metallica, and we did some Maiden, and we did some Accept, and we did a lot of random stuff. And I kept wanting to add more Maiden songs to the set.
Oh, okay. So then it just naturally,
kind of,
you knew where you were.
I sort of knew where I was going with this, but so that's where I got the idea. Let me just throw it out there and see what the universe has to say.
That's awesome. And
thank you, Craigslist.
Yes. And so your first gig, was that, I guess well received, or how did that, like, because it's tough to go like, I'm only going to focus on one particular band.
It actually was, I thought.
I think the first gig was well received.
Fairfax, and we were all literally set up in a straight line, like next to each other.
It's very awkward.
There's no depth. We were like literally all next to each other in a line. And it was pretty packed. It was very energetic.
And how did you not like jump in the crowd? Because I'm telling you folks, you gotta I'm gonna put some links to their performances in the description, so you can see that Naveed's all over the place, and so it had to be tough.
But that also sort of evolved over time, right? I remember in the first year especially, I watched a ton of Maiden live videos just to kind of get a real sense of the stage show. I've seen Maiden live a couple of times. I haven't seen them like 20 times or anything, right? And so it was getting a sense of the stage show and, kind of some of his sort of like way of kind of, working the audience and the stage and everything like that. And I think little by little, I tried to incorporate more of that. It's actually got an interesting place now where I think when we started out, I wasn't doing as much of that because I was trying to figure out sort of what I wanted to do. And then I think I sort of got to the point where I really had an understanding of some of his sort of like classic kind of moves and also just some of the, his characteristic phrases and things like that. And I think now that we're, as far into this, I actually am really enjoying also bringing myself to the performance in a way that it doesn't just have to be, again, mimicry. I'm not going to say "Scream for Me" X City like 20 times in a show. I'm not, you know what I mean? Once or twice. We all love the nostalgia of it to an extent. But one of the things that I think makes me excited about continuing to do this is that I can feel like I'm authentically performing as myself, even though we're doing a tribute project, which sounds a little weird, but it feels very authentic. That's the best word I can use for it.
And I think, and I'm going to go to Fern, because I think you said, because we were talking, I think it was after a show or something like that, and you had kind of mentioned that it's more like people celebrating the band. You're just fans of the band who happen to play instruments extremely well that are celebrating with the fan base who are in the crowd. And I think that does come off very authentic, because you're not trying to put on this like schlocky, weird performance. And you guys switch up the set list. And the times I've seen the set list get switched up a lot, which I do want to get to. They have, so we're talking 17 albums. And so you have a lot to choose from. Like, who puts the set list together, and
how long do you have?
Well, I want to honestly, I want to hear the arguments, because like, is there a song that's like, there's no way I'm doing it? I'm like Empire of the Clouds or something. Like, is there?
The biggest argument is how many Paul Di'Anno songs can we do? Because I would prefer to do all 2 albums back to back someday, but it's never going to happen.
All right.
Okay,
that's the biggest argument. How many Bruce songs? Which obviously there is way more, but. I feel like we never get enough Paul Di'Anno in there.
I'm guessing a lot of tribute bands probably have the same type of process, right? Like when you start, you want to get the low-hanging fruit, right? You want to make sure you get the hits, the big songs, all of that. And then you get to your second tier, and there's second tier stuff that everyone kind of loves. Once you get past that, then it's sort of up for grabs. He's got some personal pet favorites, so does he, so do I. And so now we're at the point where adding a song, because we've got, again, most of the big songs and even sort of the middle tier songs, if you will. So now it really just becomes these like endless band debates about what we're going to devote ourselves to, because we're sort of getting to that point. And there's certain things that nobody wants to do, and there's certain things that one or two people want to do that are going to get a hard no from somebody else. Yeah. So it's just a lot of negotiating.
Because folks, I'm going to put this in the I am going to put this in the link of the description, but I saw them do a version of Rime of the Ancient Mariner. And at first, when the music started, I remember going, oh my gosh, are they really doing this? Way to go. And you guys nailed it. But how hard is that? Like, that's a long, 15-minute song or something like that. And you guys just, nailed it. Like, was that a big discussion to throw it in there, or you guys were just like, I'm doing it?
Well, it's funny because that's one of those songs that we call an epic, right? There's, the Alexander the Great, Seventh Son, the Klansman. Those are what we call the epic songs, and they're a little longer. For us, I can only speak for myself. I would imagine the only thing that would make any song difficult is if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Because for me, if I don't like a song, I kind of have to push myself through learning it. But if I really enjoy a song, it's a lot easier to get through. And if I enjoy a song, it means I've listened to it, so I'm already familiar with it.
You're setting yourself up for the next question.
Okay, let's end it.
What is that song that you don't enjoy?
Hot dog, I'm going to get fired.
It better not be Hallowed Be Thy Name. It better not be Hallowed Be Thy Name, because
Running Free, Phantom.
Yeah, Running
What
Free.
else?
And I hate to say that it's mostly early Maiden stuff, but
so you guys are the Paul Di'Anno arguments.
Well, I like Paul, and I like the musicianship. I think for me it was the writing. I just it didn't grab me as much. Some songs I love from the era, but as a rule,
okay.
Definitely fired.
Yeah.
So I guess thanks.
So Chris / Clicko is the Steve Harris of the band. Yet you're the Steve Harris.
I'm the Steve
so
Harris. Yep.
It's
exactly.
as far as like the boss of the.
I'm the figurehead. I'm the figurehead. He's the actual authority.
Okay. So, so the cool thing is, I'm actually going to see you guys in a week. Cool. You guys will be playing the Leesburg Tally Ho, which is, I think, like the home club, for lack of better terms. Yeah. Should I even ask if there's a surprise that I should be aware of? Like,
there is.
Okay.
You mentioned how we switched up the set list.
Yes.
I don't want to give away the frequency, but it's literally anytime you see us, it'll be something at least a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure.
If not totally different,
Awesome.
And it will be different for you specifically.
Oh,
yeah.
Fantastic.
And actually, you were saying before in terms of like, we were talking about the low-hanging fruit, 17 albums. We're at that point where it's like a good problem to have, where we've already played so many of the hits, if not all of them. Now we get to have fun. How are we going to make it unique? Because we still have basically another 10-ish albums worth of songs in quantity that we can sprinkle in at any time to continually make it unique and fresh.
Okay, so I want to hear The Angel and the Gambler.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm just kidding.
How deep
is that an Iron Maiden song?
Yeah, I know. I've got a thing for Blaze. I don't know what it is.
You know, the debate often ends up being, how much of the audience is going to enjoy a particular song, right? I mean, hopefully if we perform it well, people will enjoy whatever we play.
Yeah.
But, people have the songs that they love and the ones that, they may not even know. And so, there is sort of like one faction of the band that wants to be sure that we've got, a high enough percentage of hits and well-known songs that we're going to get even sort of the casual fan, or even someone who's not even a Maiden fan, to come and say, oh, okay, well, you want to make sure they hear Run to the Hills and whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other faction of the band is like, let's mix up the sets. Like lately I've been saying at shows, like, we're not doing Maiden 101 shows anymore. Like at this point,
Yeah, you guys have a big enough following.
It's very fun though. Like, it keeps it fun for me personally to balance the two. I'm probably more on the deep cut side of the of the divide.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to throw it out there, and it's probably not going to be next week, but something from Dance of Death would be awesome.
It's been mentioned.
By me.
I have been pitching the title track for a long time now,
I
and
love that.
a member of the band who shall remain unnamed.
Is it Clicko?
It might be.
To his right.
It might be. Who has been stonewalling me for like a year.
Or Passchendaele? Actually, Montsegur would be cool.
Dude,
I would be so thrilled.
I did a couple of years ago, I did some, I don't know, internet thing where somebody on some website asked me to talk about like 10 like lesser known Maiden songs that I love or something like that.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about Monsignor. That
Love
is
it.
absolutely a catalog highlight as far as
Yes.
I'm concerned. That song is awesome.
I love it.
Yep.
And once again, and that's where, and I'll be honest with you, the best thing, folks, trust me, when it comes to the tribute band, you should definitely go and support them because they're playing songs that the actual legacy band won't play or doesn't play anymore. Right. And that's really the beauty about going to see you guys is, you know, you guys, every time I've seen you, you do a song that I know that the real Maiden isn't going to do. And it's so great to hear it live. You know?
You say that as a listener of the band, which is awesome. And I appreciate that. It's kind of the same thing as musicians. I go see Maiden. I'd love for them to play Back in the Village. Well, they might not play it. So I get to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's an opportunity to do that.
I'm glad you mentioned it because Back in the Village was one that I actually was late to the table. Like I found Iron Maiden literally on that last tour, the Legacy of the Beast tour. It was a goof. I thought I went through this phase of like wanting to see legacy bands, it all started with Prince. I'm a huge Prince fan. And I had tickets to see him a couple times, but never actually could go for whatever reason and just missed him. It was always, I'll get it next time. And then, Prince passed away. So then I thought about which bands are legacy bands that I don't even know, but like they're obviously big for a reason. I should check them out. And so Iron Maiden just happened to be coming to town and I had a gift certificate. So I was like, free Iron Maiden. And so I figured I'd check it out, and it completely changed my whole outlook on everything. And I'm in the fan club now, and so you guys introduced Back in the Village to me. When I saw you guys, I was just like, wow, this is great. So my first, I'd say, listening to it was from you, and I was just, so I have your voice in my head when I hear that song. Like now I hear it on a playlist, and I've got you, because that's the only version I've seen perform it.
Someone made a comment once, and they said, "Now when I shut my eyes, when I think of Maiden, I think of you guys." Damn.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't.
I know. I feel like, but yeah, but it is one of those. It is one of those things. I also thought of you guys when I saw Maiden because I had always seen you guys on like playbills, and I've seen like your name around and stuff, but once again, never bothered. And when I heard Revelations live and I heard Eyes of the Nile, I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, I wonder if they're here and are they giggling, because they heard their name in the song. And so, so how did you come up with Eyes of the Nile? Like who came up, like how did you pick Eyes of the Nile out of all the things it could have been?
It was other things originally. I don't remember. The only name I remember was Prophets of Disaster.
Well, okay, I think a lot of this was me. Like there are a lot of Maiden tribute bands in existence, right? And a lot of them have names that are like, it'll be a real more obvious, like
Made in Japan,
the Troopers, or Made in Japan, or like
the Iron Maidens.
or like the Seventh Sons or something like that, right?
That was my pick. Seven Sons.
Yeah.
Got pooped.
No,
there was another band called Seven Sons.
Yeah,
okay.
I wanted something that was a little more obscure, but also more than that, something that had like a ring to it. I think a lot of people just pick something that's going to be identifiable, which makes sense. I mean, obviously you want to be identifiable. And so I think Prophets of Disaster, which is out of Die With Your Boots On, right? So that was a phrase that kind of caught me. And we lived with that for a little bit. Actually, our first show was advertised as Prophets of Disaster.
Oh, okay.
And then we got back to the guy that did the Facebook event. We're like, we're changing it again. He's like, seriously?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so Eyes of the Nile, again, I just think it's it's a cool sounding phrase. At least for me, it kind of rolls off the tongue and it's just sort of memorable. What you lose out on is the really super obvious "We're a Maiden tribute," unless you know that particular lyric from that particular song. But it's worked out okay, I guess.
Yeah.
If I could, so I'm the new guy in the band, and knowing that there have been a lot of Maiden tributes out there, and seeing the names of them to this exact point, I think the the fact that the name of the band is Eyes of the Nile and
it's not in your face,
right?
Maiden. Yeah.
That's to me yet another element of how we're a little bit more ourself than Maiden.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it makes
There's some element of originality and uniqueness to it that I really appreciate in the name too.
absolutely. And you got and I'm gonna keep calling you Clicko. Just I don't know.
Fine.
Chris, so Chris,
It's gonna sticko.
it is. So
But
so Chris mentioned the Iron Maidens, and doing this channel, I've had a lot of people. If you like Iron Maiden, you should check them out. And I will say, and I don't want to slight them, and I do understand what they do, and they are I'd say the tribute band that everybody hears about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I don't get it. I do I love like Nita Strauss. Like the players themselves are fantastic, and I don't want to slight that. But like they were playing Wacken, and I'm like, that's huge. And then I'm like, no, you guys are way better, and you guys should be playing Wacken instead of them. And I'm thinking like, it made me think of like, what are the pitfalls of being in a tribute band? Like, is it harder to like, how do you have to book gigs when another tribute band has come along that might also be Iron? How do the Iron Maidens, like, how does that work as far as booking?
That's all.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
just that there's no poker face here.
I'm trying to book him. I'm trying to book him for Wacken. That's what I want, folks.
Yes, Wacken, if you're out there, my name's Christy Chiara. I book the gigs for the band. No.
Yes.
What's the question?
So what are the pitfalls? Because booking, like, I think booking any band is probably difficult to begin with. But when you're booking a tribute band, is that harder or easier, or is it?
Well, you've talked about how if there's already like a home tribute band, like let's say we're trying to go to New Jersey or something, like we've already got a Maiden band up here that we work with, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I mean, anytime you're booking a gig, they know you're only going to book a gig at a venue where they have tributes if you're doing your research. So you would, if you're smart enough, you go to the website and see, is this a place where we actually would have any success, or is it worth even asking the person that works at this venue? Because some venues, they book tributes, but it's maybe a Dolly Parton tribute, and it's like a music hall, and there's no metal.
Yeah, so they're not trying to have metal.
So even if they wanted to book us, it's a huge risk because we're going to be the only metal thing that ever comes in there. So the chances are it's not going to go well. I mean, maybe it could. It's just a risk. Whereas if they're just booking metal rock tributes, that's the place where you kind of want to go. And like Naveed said, there are some venues where they have multiple Maiden bands asking to play there, and there might be one that plays there all the time. So why would you have another one in there, even though,
So it's tough to kind of just break in because there's other.
If there's another one, like if another tribute played at asked to play Tally Ho, I mean, I don't know how that would go down, but there'd be some fists.
You guys might have to throw down. Like that's what I'm saying.
Totally
like,
throw down.
Might
like
be some feelings.
If another Iron Maiden,
It gets a
tribute
little
band,
territorial.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
So are we taking the Maidens down? Because folks, I know there's a huge German following here. If you guys have any connections to Wacken, just know that we want in. Like, you guys have to fly me out too.
We will.
If you guys get
of course,
Wacken,
you're a
from this-
promoter. You're a marketing manager.
Then, folks, we need to go to Wacken here or any other European festivals.
We've been asked.
Really?
By fans, not
okay.
the actual. I mean,
oh, never mind. It's like
there's
me.
a Swedish festival. No, there's a Swedish festival that we've been asked to play at, and been in touch with the manager and everything. And there's a lot of people from Germany. Actually, there's a lot of people literally from around the world that have asked us to play there. Just not the booking agents.
Booking
just
agents
fans.
out there, we need to have this happen because
It just seems like there's a lot of interest in it, and
well, because you guys are different from, like I said, I've seen the ones from different countries, and it wasn't a matter of I'm not trying to just butter you guys up, but I've looked at YouTube. There's people from like it's Maiden Mexico, Maiden all the other ones.
there is a Maiden USA too.
Yeah, and I've checked most of them out, and they're all they're all good, but they don't have like what you guys bring to the table. I think theatrics, but also just that that natural feel to it. And so that's why we need to get these guys global. It's kind of what it needs to happen.
We'd love that.
Yes. So, and you guys are going to Florida, if I'm correct?
This week, Friday and Saturday.
Awesome.
Friday in Orlando at a place called Conduit, and then Saturday night at the heavy metal beach party in South Beach.
Awesome. And then next week, then the following week, I will be seeing you guys live at the Tally Ho.
February 2nd.
Okay, so we can get into some Maiden geekdom here.
Let's do it.
Who in the group would you say is the actual biggest Maiden fan?
I'm gonna go with Deej.
I mean, I'm the oldest one. I don't know if that
Just from a
matters.
legacy perspective, like
Yeah,
you started out earlier.
Maybe. I
Mhm.
mean, I started listening to them in probably 1983,
Mhm.
84.
Well, I would say in the sense that, I mean, you've got a lot of memorabilia, you've got like collectibles and things like that. You also had a pretty encyclopedic knowledge of all the drum parts, at least up through like Seventh Son.
Right.
I mean,
Wow.
it doesn't take much
Yeah.
for him to learn a new song because he's got most of them burned in his brain.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd probably go with Deej.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would agree with that because I didn't start listening to them until 88, like right when Seventh Son. 88 was my sort of year where I got turned into metal from Guns N' Roses. We actually had that conversation. And it was Guns N' Roses for like a year, and then Maiden, Metallica, Slayer, Nuclear Assault, Voivod, Anthrax, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But Anthrax, and I'm sorry, Maiden and Metallica being the biggest. But again, for me, that wasn't until '88. He's got 5 years on me as a fan. And I don't have as much memorabilia. And I don't know when Naveed started listening to him because we're about the same age.
Okay.
Yeah, I started. I think I had Live After Death first. That's the one that I had that I just sort of. Oh, actually, no. Actually, I can go back a little more than that. No, I'm probably like I'm a little older than you, but younger than you. I think, right? Yeah. So I heard Number of the Beast, the song Number of the Beast, probably when I was still in my kind of hair metal, kind of Motley Crue sort of phase, and that was the one that really got my attention, kind of hooked me. But I didn't really get heavily into them until. Oh, God. You said 88 for you?
Yeah, Seventh Son was brand new.
It might even be a little later than that for me, dude.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually thinking, because I remember it was, more like high school, where I wore Live After Death out. I mean, just completely wore it out. Like, I had to buy a new tape because all the Maiden wore off and all this stuff, right? That was probably, I'm going to say, like, 90, 91, something like that. Yeah.
So that for you is the best live.
Oh, yeah. Live After Death is... I learned all those songs off of Live After Death. And so the studio versions of a lot of these songs, they don't even really connect with me. Like Revelations, the studio version of me feels like a dirge. It's so slow.
Yeah.
So all the Live After Death versions and even the Diano material that's on Live After Death, I would much prefer those versions than the originals. That to me is about as perfect as a live album can get.
Awesome.
I remember coming home from school and so that was 85, right? Live After Death?
Yeah.
That's about right.
I think so.
Yep.
Was that middle school? Yeah, that was middle school. And I just go through the whole album and reenact like I was Bruce Dickinson and then listen to it again. And now I was the drummer. Now I was Nico. And then I do it again. And now I was, Adrian Smith, just jumping around the house all
Wow. That's all. That's what I'm kind of so upset that I started so late that I didn't get those moments. Like I still do. No, I'm just kidding. But I didn't get those moments. Like when you're a kid, you can play with a racket in your hand and stuff like that. So I do totally regret that I missed all of that. So I'm making up for it with this whole thing. But
better late than never.
So as far as collectibles go, I tend to collect a lot of things. And this is the one thing that Maiden is killing me on because they seem to be they put out so much stuff that I'm like, oh, I got to buy that. Like Funko Pops and all that kind of stuff. So I'm now 100% suckered into this whole thing. Nice. Who in the band is like that guy, like the most collectible, or is there a guy that's...
I think we all have our different levels, but...
I think you two.
I mean, yeah, him more so than me, but I have some.
I think you two,
definitely
because
have
I've got none.
Yeah.
I've got nothing.
I have some autographs.
Somebody bought the Monopoly game.
I have the Monopoly game.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought the the Peace of Mind book and the Mandrake thing. I got
Don't you have tour programs too?
Well, I used to be in the fan club
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s, so I still have a bunch of those like little
Mm-hmm.
brochures and everything.
Yeah.
I think I have an autographed album somewhere. I have a Soundhouse Tapes 45.
Mm-hmm.
The Bruce Dickinson autograph is lost now because my mother sold it. It was on a denim jacket of mine. And Nico's autograph was on that denim jacket as well.
Oh,
And like Testament, Nuclear Saw. I had all these autographs. You know, that denim jacket that you wore in high school with the Halloween back patch. And
I would be wearing
gone.
it to this day.
It's gone forever.
Would be, yeah, I would. Wow.
Mom.
Oh, what are like somebody wrote on your jacket? Let's throw it out.
Yeah.
That sucks. But so what? Like, are you guys also? This is one thing. Like, there's certain bands that I'm a huge fan of, and my personal friends know it. And anything that they do that they see, I get blown up on text because you guys are in a Iron Maiden tribute band. Is it pretty much Bruce Dickinson walked outside today and you guys get blown up with?
We have a friend, GG. He'll randomly send us texts about a random something or other Maiden.
And you're like, I already know because I'm a fan. I get the same stuff you get.
Sometimes he actually gets to jump on something and just immediately sends this to us. Like he's like our Siri. For
He
Iron
lives on
Maiden.
the internet.
Yeah.
So he's our source for everything that's out there.
Oh, okay. So it's welcomed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's welcome.
I just get so annoyed. I'm not gonna lie. I get people that just like, oh, did you know it's so and so's birthday? I'm like, you know I do. So why are you telling me this? Or
Same goes with the Beatles because they're actually my favorite band, and so actually he does the same thing with Beatles stuff too.
Transformers.
Yeah, I think he has all like his
it.
friends and their favorite bands.
Wow.
And so he just distributes all the knowledge to those people.
Wow.
I love it.
It's fine.
That's awesome. So, anyways, so we covered songs that you guys don't want to play. What is your favorite song to play?
Oh man, one of them for me definitely. I was reminded the other night when we played was "Die with Your Boots On." It is so fun to play. I don't know if I could ever get sick of playing that.
I don't look down at the fretboard. I'm singing along.
Yeah.
And just looking at the crowd the entire time. That's one of my favorites for sure.
You know, my favorite studio album is probably Somewhere in Time, which is sort of a not the most popular pick, I think, among Maiden fans. It happens to be my
just
favorite.
this particular tour. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's all for a long time. So
yeah.
I love playing a lot of stuff off that. I'm partial to the epic songs. I really like playing like the longer songs that kind of really take you on a journey.
Yeah,
those are really fun. I like those.
There's different reasons for different songs. I couldn't pick one. I mean, that "Die with Your Boots On" comes to mind first because it's. I don't want to say it's easy, but I can just kind of enjoy playing it and like sing to the crowd. Whereas there's other songs where I'm just really concentrating on playing more, and I'm still enjoying it, but I'm not able to just
get into it.
Just I don't know, emote to the crowd more because I'm more concentrating on myself.
Also, some of the dynamic ones from a vocal perspective are cool, like the more ballady ones, like "Children of the Damned" or "Wasting Love." Those are really fun. Just purely, selfishly speaking, but
which selfishly speaking, I'm glad you mentioned it, and I'm glad this topic came up because you guys can tell I have no questions written down in front of me, but it's just I'm stupid, folks. It's just whatever pops into my head. So one of my fears, the last time I was at your show, one of the fears I had was, Naveed comes out, amazing job. You really get the crowd into it. And there's a lot of folks that are like huge fans for you guys specifically that I see them at the shows and they're vocal, they're really into it, singing the songs. And I'm that guy who's like, and I'm trying to sing the songs, but since it's still new to me, I don't know every word. I know yeah, exactly. That's me. I know the chorus, I get that down. But then you have the move where you get down and you do the mic and you literally like let the person sing.
And you disappear and
yes, you don't know. Like I was so panicked because last time I was there, I was with my nephew. He's never heard a single Iron Maiden song in his life, and I'm like, oh, it's one of my favorite bands and all that. So I'm singing along, I'm looking good in front of this kid, and then you come out and and you've got people on this side, the other side of the stage singing, and you had this look like you were gonna come. I'm like, no. I was like, don't bring it to me, don't bring it. You didn't, fortunately, and I was so thankful it didn't happen. But so I'm like, just word of advice. Next week, I'll be singing along, but.
You know, I'll say there's a certain amount of like kind of spontaneity and unpredictability that I think for me is really fun when we do these shows. Like, I'll stick the mic out. I don't know who knows what, who's gonna scream what their voice sounds like. It doesn't even matter. It's just all getting caught up in the moment. And if it makes you feel any better, I'm not sure that I necessarily know all the lyrics on any given night. So
He's doing it because he doesn't know. He wants someone else to sing the lyrics.
Cause
I lost a whole verse of something the other night. Like sometimes this happens, but in my defense, Bruce Dickinson, especially like in a lot of the 80s live stuff, he'll flip around verses and those things kind of kind of happen all the time.
Yeah, you guys make it look good, but like
it's just all part of the
me and the other crowd, but they knew the words, and I was like, and that's what I was wondering. Do you have it in your head while you're performing that you're like, okay, guy right there seems to know everything, so I feel comfortable doing that? So
you should just.
It could be me.
Plug your podcast when the mic comes.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's Mosh Pit, everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly.
That'd be hilarious.
That's what I'm gonna have to do.
Matt's Mosh Pit.
Yeah. Because it just
February 2nd.
Yes.
Make sure that happens.
Folks, you're not going to want to miss this. February 2nd at the Tally Ho in Leesburg, Virginia. If you guys are even remotely in the area, you have to check it out. It's definitely worth it. And you could see me potentially cry. So, and so, but yeah, that's kind of always scared me because it's like, even if I know the song with the mic there, I don't know. Like, has
that why you would cry?
Probably.
Or other reasons?
There's all kinds of reasons, really. I'm an emotional mess, but
nothing to do with the show.
No. But it's strictly just not being prepared and knowing the words. And so, does that happen? You just like.
Does what happen?
Does that happen with like when you put it in people's faces that they get the words completely wrong?
Oh yeah. It's happened where they have no idea. They just look at you like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
And then you just basically nobody's singing that line except for unless he's doing backing vocals or something, and then he's singing it by himself.
Okay.
Other times they know the words. Sometimes they have a phenomenal voice. Sometimes they're just like, growling it or screaming it. It doesn't even matter. Yeah. It's all
good fun.
It's all in good fun. It's all part of it.
The one thing that I will do, and I'll volunteer. I volunteered the last time I talked to you guys, but if you guys need a fat guy to walk on stage as Eddie, I'm your dude. I'll do that. Like, right. I'll do that. But
awesome.
But yeah, I'm not singing. Just if you see me in the crowd, I'll be right up front.
We had a whole discussion about this because when we do Wasted Years, right? I mean, he and I sing the choruses together. I would just be randomly sticking the mic in people's faces, and then he'd be singing the background vocal all by himself. And during band practice, like, can you tell me when you're going to do it? I'm like, no, I can't. It just sort of happens when it happens.
There's a great video of us doing. We were playing Rams Head Live in Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
And I had a drum cam on me. And, like he said, I'm singing background vocals and Wasted Years, and he decided to put out in the crowd. And while I was singing, I heard someone just like, and I stop and I just start cracking up because I can hear this guy because of his microphone. And it's beautiful, Mom. It's like
that's gonna be that's me. Yeah. So
that's great.
I mean, all that stuff honestly just makes the show better.
Yeah, okay.
All of
it's fun.
It makes you feel any better. He's been doing it to me a lot too. Actually, like mid verse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just shoving the mic in his face.
Lead vocal. I'm like, oh, okay, and there it is. Yeah.
I'm only playing 1,000,000 notes right now.
No, yeah. I mean, it's fun, but it keeps me on my toes.
But yeah, that's my nightmare. That's my and it so scared me because I'm like, oh, this is gonna embarrass me because you guys actually did make me feel good on that last show because I had my nephew and we had met before. So like before the show, we're hey, what's up? And even after the show, and he was like, that's so cool, the band. And I was like, yeah, we go way back. That's how we do. We played in the Sandbox together back in grade school.
You got VIP tonight.
Yeah, but it would have just been awful. Hey, sing. Nope.
Don't worry about it.
But I will be Eddie if you guys need a Eddie to get up there, and
thank you.
I'll be that dude that I'll throw cards out to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's Mosh Pit.
That's cool.
So, and also I need to talk to who you guys have merch, and I will say, folks, this is another thing about this band is their merch is on point. Like the shirts, you guys had like the logos, they look amazing. The only problem is they don't come in fat because I did buy one. It does, hug a little bit where, it doesn't need to hug, but we need to work on getting fat shirts. I just want that on record.
I think they're like athletic style or something like that.
Yeah. But the logo, like you guys, like the artwork is amazing. Is that you?
No. I mean, I have a say in it at some point, but it's all Jason.
It's all Jason, one of our guitar players.
Okay.
The guy that plays Lefty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lefty.
Yeah.
Yep. He's basically the graphic designer of the band.
Jason, fantastic job. And so hopefully he's watching this. He'll watch it.
Yeah.
And so, because you guys, that's the other thing. That's the one thing that I think that really makes you guys stand out is just the attention to those details. Like the merch is awesome, stage show awesome. It's just fantastic.
Thank you.
So,
certain level of caring and constant messages back and forth about stuff, and I think that ends up showing at some point. Hopefully.
Yeah. It also really helps when you enjoy the people that you're doing it with. I think we legitimately enjoy each other's company a lot, and we're good friends, and it just makes the whole thing really fun,
That'll be put to the test this weekend.
We
have a drive to Florida and back.
Or 15 hours on a bus, yeah, maybe.
We did have our maiden voyage this past weekend together. Thankfully, I loved it, and hopefully everybody else did too. But we have a bus now, so we were all together down at Virginia Beach, there and back. And
fun.
We've done rental vans before, but now we're in like a legitimate, more of a bus that's growing into be our bus. Yeah.
Everything is in it now.
Yeah.
All the equipment, all the people.
Yeah.
So you're prepared for like big, huge tours.
Trying to,
because
little by little.
when we get Vakken, folks,
Flight 667 coming up.
So you guys, like, nothing will make me happier than you guys getting on like a European tour.
Nothing will make us happy.
Something like that.
Absolutely.
And so it's very clear, folks, that if you're promoters out there in Europe, bring these guys on. They're willing to do it. I'm not really going to travel as much, but that's not my
You're
thing.
Totally coming with us.
Yeah.
If there's Vakken, then yes, I'll be there. But folks, promoters out there or friends of promoters, you know who you are. Look up these guys, Eyes of the Nile. They're the they call themselves the premier Iron Maiden tribute band, but it's East Coast. I'm going to say globally. I'm just going to say globally right now. They are the premier global tribute band.
Thank you.
And don't come at me in the comments with the Iron Maidens. Because I've heard the Iron Maidens. I have respect for the Iron Maidens, but they're not these guys. They do a good job at what they do, and they deserve a lot of credit, but these guys are the real deal. And once again, I'm going to put links to the description. I'm going to put links to you guys' performances in the description when I figure out how to talk properly. But yeah, I'll put those in the description so you guys can judge for yourself. If you guys are in America and have the opportunity to go see these guys, if you're on the East Coast, I know there's people from the Philadelphia area. Take the drive. And you guys actually play up in Pennsylvania a lot, if I'm correct. Yeah, so you guys, definitely go out and check them out. It's 100% worth it. And with that being said, would you guys like to say anything to the last mash? I can't even talk. Like you guys, Matt's Mushmouth show. Yes, is there anything you guys would like to say to the audience?
I would only say that obviously we got Florida coming up, so if anyone's in Florida this weekend, we're in Orlando again on Friday, South Beach Saturday, and we are doing a little bit more out-of-state stuff. So, besides Richmond in April, we are playing in North Carolina in May? Yes, May, I think. And in New Bedford, Massachusetts in September. So those are two of the out-of-state ones, and we're working on some other ones too.
And where can they go to find out more about Eyes of the Nile?
www.eyesoftheNile.com. EYESOFTheNile.com. That's, the website. Obviously, we're on Facebook and Instagram as well, and YouTube. But, the home base is the website and Facebook.
Absolutely. So everybody join the Eyes of the Nile community. If you're Maiden fans out there or just even think you might like Maiden, check these guys out. It's absolutely worth checking them out. And with that being said, folks, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.